Hey, Scott Beckford here. In this upcoming video, I'm going to share with you the top reasons why new mortgage brokers fail. The success rate, unfortunately, is very low for new mortgage brokers. And it's because I think there's a couple of reasons. One, they don't understand what business they're getting into. And two, they don't have a plan for how to actually build that business. And so check this out. And if you're interested to find out more about what we do, we have go to rookie2rockstar.ca. We have a webinar there. We show you how we help rookies find and fund their first 10 mortgages. Check this out. Hey, welcome to Why New Brokers Fail. So I'm Scott Beckford, and first off, welcome to one of the most profitable careers on the planet. Where else can you make hundreds of thousands of dollars wearing flip-flops? But before we jump into that and all the training things we're going to help you do, I want to kind of have a heart-to-heart with you like my first boss did with me when I got in the mortgage business. And so I'm going to talk about failure and why it's challenging and why you need to adjust your mindset around what you actually do and what you need to do so that you can be successful. So let me ask you a question, and you be honest about this. You can maybe write this down or think about it. So if I could wave a magic wand right now and I could give you, there's 3 skills that are available, and one of them I could make you world class at, which one do you think is the most valuable? So there's funding skills. So that's understanding the lender guidelines and the policies and all the nuance of everything, how the different lenders and stuff work. There's sales skills. So this is converting clients and getting them to work with you and understanding how to handle objections. And then there's marketing skills. This is finding clients. So which of the 3, if I could wave my magic wand and say, poof, you now have this at black belt level, which would you pick? Okay, I'm going to let you, it's like that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Lock in your answer, play the music, lock in your answer. Okay, so I'll come back to this and I'm going to ask you again at the end because I'm going to share with you some, let me tell you a quick story first. So now that you got your answer locked in. So when I first got in the mortgage business, this was 2006, and my wife was a new mortgage agent. She actually got hired by this guy. So she was new. She gets hired by this guy. And the date, she went through a couple of interviews, and then he said, okay, yeah, great. Come work with our company. And then she's like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. And he's like, of course, what's he going to say, right? He's like, oh, crap, I just offered you to come work here. And then she's, but don't worry, I have a plan. My husband's going to come work with me in the mortgage business. And so just to give you backstory, my wife, she was a banker for many years. So she was a financial services advisor. She knew her stuff. And then there's me. I was a paramedic, and I was like, I don't really want to do the night shifts anymore. I had originally, when I was in my 20s, I wanted to be a financial advisor, but I looked like I was 15, realized nobody's going to give me their money. So I became a paramedic for 9 years. And so he met with me, interviewed me, went back and sat down with my wife. He said, listen, I met your husband. This is a terrible idea. He is not going to make it in this business. Like this, I highly recommend you don't do this, please. And we've laughed about this since. This owner basically, hey, this guy doesn't have what it takes. He should not be a mortgage broker. And it was actually the best thing he could have said to me. If he would have said, oh, Scott, you got this. It's going to be easy. You're going to be great. You like serving people. And so what he had recognized in me is that I had this sort of disdain for sales. I thought sales was scummy, and yes, it can be for sure. Salespeople, there are scummy salespeople, but I thought that they were all that way. And so I had to make a massive mindset shift. I had to go from thinking that all salespeople were just trying to take from you. And so in that first year, I read so many sales books. I took sales coaching. I was I had to rewire my brain. And now, and a switch flipped. All of a sudden, I was like, wait a second. To me, this is how I define sales now. Sales is about serving people, serving the right people, and sometimes telling people no. I do it all the time in multiple business I'm in. We tell people, even they're willing to write me a check, I'm like, I'm not the right person for you. You should go somewhere else. So serving them is serving the right people. And then to me, sales is about communication. The better I get at communicating that, I can, help the right people better, faster, and I can identify the people that aren't and point them in the right direction. That's it. So when I shifted from sales being taking to serving, everything became possible. So in the first year at his company, I was the number 1 mortgage broker in his company. Second year, I was the number 1, and then I went and started my own mortgage company after that. And if I did not have that shift, you would not even be taught. You wouldn't even be listening to me talk today, because I guarantee you, I would never have got out of the gates if he would have just told me, "Don't worry about it. You just need to because I would have never got it going." So I'm gonna ask you another question. So why do you think banks pay us? So when you think about this, why do banks and lenders, why do they pay mortgage brokers, right? I mean, they have people that can do it. They have their own sales force that could do it. Most of all the large banks have their own internal sales force, and they're actually cheaper. They pay them way less money than they pay us. or not way less, but significantly less. So why are they paying us? You know, and the reality is that they pay us because they want the what the technical term is, and in the US they call us originators. So they call them loan originators. Like, what does that mean? It means they pay us to find them business. That's it. That is their number one thing. And if they didn't need to pay us, if they could find a way to not pay, they would not. Nothing against them. I'm grateful for the lender partners we have. But if they could not pay us, they would be happy to continue to get business. So this is the number one priority as you as a mortgage broker is not understanding underwriting guidelines. They will come in time, and I'll share with you how you actually can become a black belt in underwriting. But you need to learn how to find business. So this is if you're gonna do it referral based or ad based. You can do both. We don't teach ad based because for most people they don't have the budget, they don't have the like technical knowledge to do it. We teach referrals based business, and so referral based business is how you're going to go find business. Then once you get them, then you got to figure out how do I convert them? How do I convince them that I am their best fit if you genuinely are, right? That's the key things. And then getting it funded is the next step. So what does a mortgage broker do anyway? And, ultimately what our job is we are salespeople. And if you don't like that word, you're going to have to, this is going to be a mindset. You're going to write down sales, cross it out and write service. But that doesn't mean that you can't up your service. Isn't just like McDonald's. Would you like fries with that? Because if that's your sales skill, you're going to make money like somebody working at McDonald's. That means you need to really up your communication game. You need to up your ability to handle objections and deal with challenges and struggles. It's all going to come your way, but it's going to be totally worth it. Trust me. So, one of the interesting things is that market share for mortgage brokers in the last 10 years has gone up. Like we were at 25%. This is in Canada. In the US, it was high, then it dropped, and then now it's coming back up again. But in Canada, the mortgage broker market share is increasing, and like from 25 to nearly 50%. And so much so that a lot of the banks that were either in the broker channel at one time are coming back. And you'll see this, I guarantee it. You watch over the next year or two, we're going to see way more of these entrants back in because brokers are eating the lunch of mortgage specialists and branch reps, people that work at branches. And I'll share in a later video why I think that is. There's a bunch of dynamics that's causing that. But here's ultimately what it comes down to. Banks and lenders pay us to find them clients. If they could replace us, they would. Nothing against us. And they use the broker channel because more consumers are there. So if this is where the consumers are going, which is good for us, then the banks are going to be here too, right? But make no mistake, if they had some way to eliminate us, we're an expense line on their. And I know of a mortgage broker who's actually worked in high level banking at a major bank, and he was looking at the financial reports. And he's like, "What is this line? All these millions of dollars? Oh, that's commissions to mortgage brokers." He's like, "Why am I working here like a sucker? Like I'm going to go be a mortgage broker. Like that's way more money than I ever get paid, and I have to kill myself working here." So we are an expense, but that's okay. So why did these? So here's my. I have 4 reasons why I think most new mortgage brokers fail. The first is they have a wrong understanding of what we do. They don't understand that this is a sales job. It's a technical sales job, which I'll explain in a minute, but it is absolutely a sales job. And they assume that the low barrier to entry means it's easy. So the barrier to entry is pretty freaking low. Like when you think about it, like you literally take an online course in a week or two, you can advise people on their most expensive, investment that they're ever going to make. You make a mistake, it could be huge cost for them and potentially for you if you end up in court. That's the first reason. I think they underestimate. They're actually climbing Everest and they think they're going out for a hike in their backyard. The second is they have no step-by-step plan. So because of that, because of no plan, they're all over the place. They're on Facebook groups. They're listening to 50 different people tell them what to do. Somebody who's been in the business for 20 years says, you should just go do this. I'll tell you what, I started this business 16 years ago. The way I did it then would not work today. It wouldn't. And I'm good at, I think I'm pretty good at this now, but I would have to up my game substantially to compete because it's way more competitive. Because as the market share grows, so does the number of people entering the space, right? And so does the competition. So the competition's gone up. The confusion has gone up because regulation has increased. We've seen significant uptick in like just the complexity of mortgage products. And it's way, 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 like when I was started, it was easy compared to now. But that doesn't, so listening to advice from somebody who's ahead, 15 years ahead of you may or may not be the right thing to do. So there's no step-by-step plan. We have a 100-day challenge, which you're now in. And I'll break that down in an upcoming video, but you literally, the best thing you can do is just follow the yellow brick road right to your mortgage. Like there's multiple ways to get up Everest. You can do it over the next 5 years, slowly beat yourself up. I have an academy where I train people in experienced mortgage brokers how to go from like 10 million to 20 or 20 to 40. And a lot of them have spent all this time in the mountain. And then they finally get there. And then we're like, dude, there was a way faster way. But hey, look, now that you're here, we're going to show you how to go further. I'm going to show you the fastest possible way to get up that hill. But it's not, I want to make sure that you're aware of this. It's not going to be easy. Like, I'm not saying, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. It'll be worth it. You're going to push yourself. You're going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to be challenging. Just like if you're going up Everest, in a steeper ascent, the quickest way possible, it's going to be a little more difficult than if you decide to take 3 years to do it. The other things, they focus on the wrong things. So they're spending time on business cards and logos and, what does my Facebook post look like? None of that stuff matters. Like, that's not going to move the needle. It certainly won't move the needle for a significant period of time. And unless you have a lot of cash in the bank, you are probably not going to survive. And then finally, they had lack great support. So, and I mean by training and support, one of the reasons we have underwriting coaches that are available to you guys every single 5 days a week is because we know that when you get a question from a client on a file, if you don't get them an answer, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to think you know what you're doing. So we invest in amazing underwriting coaches that are only allowed to work on your files, not their own, and they can answer questions at any time. So that's why. And then the failure rate is really high. So the stats say that this is in Ontario, Illinois, 75 to 85% of new agents do not renew their mortgage license after 2 years. Crazy, right? And which is really high. So this is a picture of Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach was the highest fatality casualty beach in D-Day. So when the Allies invaded France, this beach, the casualty rate was 40 to 50%. So if you ever watched that movie, Saving Private Ryan, and it was that movie is crazy, right? First scene, they're bouncing in the boats, and then they hit the beach, and then the gate opens, and then just it's carnage, craziness. You have a better chance of surviving Omaha Beach than you do of being in this business 2 years from now. And just like my original mentor told me at the beginning, this is going to be harder than you think. And if you come into it with the wrong mindset, you are going to struggle. So don't worry, we're going to help you with the mindset stuff and all this, but just be aware that this is a challenging business. Our goal as a company is to flip that. We want to have a 75% success rate with our agents and be like, no, we're the flip. Maybe 75% of agents don't renew after 2 years. We want 75% of our agents to be crushing it. Unfortunately, I can't tell you that it's going to be 100% because I don't believe it will be. I think there's going to be some folks that come in here and this is not going to be for them. And that's totally okay. Maybe it's a side industry. Maybe you end up working as an assistant. Maybe you end up working at a lender but maybe there's, or some other thing, or, maybe you end up taking the skills you learn from this and decide to do some kind of internal sales, like selling cars or something, whatever. But not everybody's going to make it, unfortunately. But we're going to try to get as many of you as possible. And if you want to have the highest success rate, stay on the path. Do just every day that we send you these videos of what to do those. So the truth is, this is a technical sales job. You are going to be uncomfortable a lot. And finally, the underwriting piece is not something that you should spend the next 6 months trying to master because you won't remember it. You can only learn it by doing. So what I mean by a technical sales job, so imagine you sold, HVAC systems, those big, or computer systems, something technical, right? There's 3 things that you must do if you run this business. You must find customers, you must convert customers, and then you must do the installation. So if you've got these, HVAC systems, somebody's doing the marketing. They bring the customers, they get the customer on the phone, and then they send out the sales rep who goes out and looks at it and says, yes, Mr. Customer, we can do this, this, and that. This is what's going to cost, outstanding. And then somebody comes and installs it. And in most businesses, except the mortgage business, there's different people that have different skill sets that for all 3 of those roles. You have to do all of them in this business. Now, as your business gets bigger, and as we coach people in our academy, you can actually you can focus on marketing. You can focus just on the sales when you get really good. In fact, you can actually make the marketing very much automated later on, but not to start. And then the installations is obviously underwriting, right? So the way that we've broken this down in our program is we think of there's 3 main disciplines that you're going to focus, that you're going to learn. We're going to teach you how to find clients. We're going to teach you how to convert clients, and we're going to teach you how to fund mortgages. And the money. So if you think about this, back to the question I asked you at the beginning about which skill do you think is the most valuable, if you just knew how to find clients, you could start a marketing company and make a fortune, because that's what banks pay for. That's what True North does. That's what some of these big companies do. They're marketing companies. They understand how to find clients. If you get good at converting clients, so, you can either be internal sales. So there's people that work at banks all the time, and they're fantastic at their converting, but they can't find the business. right? And then there's the funding. So the funding of the mortgages is understanding the policies and the guidelines. And let me ask you this: who do you think knows more about TD's underwriting guidelines, the senior TD underwriter or a mortgage broker that works at TD? They do. But yet that senior underwriter who works for TD might make 125K a year, maybe a little higher. So let's call it in the current market, but typically an underwriter would make 75 to $100,000 a year. If you're, on a higher end would be 125. I would say a mediocre mortgage broker can make 100 grand a year. So just think about that. Why would they pay a average, maybe mediocre is the wrong word, an average mortgage broker almost as much as they pay somebody who has ridiculous amounts of technical knowledge? Because the money is in finding and converting, which is why at the front of this program, especially in the first part of this 100-day thing, is we're going to focus really heavily on the find and convert, because if you get them, we'll help you fund them. We got the underwriting coaches will you just need to get them, and then we're going to coach you as each mortgage. You'll learn more from each mortgage you do. You're like, oh, I didn't know this. You're going to learn the different technical stuff. So another point to be aware of: you're going to be uncomfortable a ton, and so hopefully you've already done the mindset stuff that was previously to this. And if you haven't, go back and finish it. I'm telling you right now, you absolutely are going to. Your mindset is good. You're going to go all over the place like a roller coaster. You got to have a daily mindset routine. So one of the reasons people fail is they don't understand that. Okay, they don't understand the type of job they're in, and then they don't protect the mindset, and then they have a file go sideways, or they lose their confidence. So you have to build a daily mindset routine. You're going to notice that we have a ton of mindset work that we do. Attend the weekly mindset session. So every week we're doing mindset stuff, always. It's absolutely critical. And then ultimately, so as much as you're like, hey, I want to learn all the technical stuff, I promise you're going to learn it. You have to work on live files. My daughter just got her driver's license and not that long ago, and she nailed the written test. Well, she just about backed into a car coming out of my driveway the other day, because there's a difference between passing the test and being really good at driving, right? You can only learn driving by doing. You can only learn underwriting mortgages by doing them, because the complexity in the current market between the lender guidelines, the insurer guidelines, and then multiply that by the nuances that each client has, it really only starts to sink in when you bring a client in. But you could read broker kits till you're blue in the face, and it will not, until you have a client who is counting on you, and a paycheck in the middle, that lesson is yours. You will learn it. And even when you're going to lose the odd file here and there, you'll still learn it. And then you'll ultimately remember those lessons. So back to the thing, why do banks pay us, right? It's not a trick question. They pay us to find them clients, period, full stop. That's why we're in this business. So remember, this is a technical sales job. Our business, the way we've broken this down for you to make it really simple, is find, convert, and fund. And on the find, we're going to go into this in the upcoming sessions. Convert is really about the client conversations that you're going to have. And then funding is about the underwriting piece. And then finally, as I said, underwriting is mastered one file at a time. You're not going to, but I promise you, this is the fastest way up the mountain. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much better it is to focus it this way. Okay, so we'll see you in the next video, and talk soon.